the aftermath and the Culling Game's new rules. The air, once thick with the oppressive cursed energy of Ryomen Sukuna, was now eerily thin, a vacuum left by the soul that had been ripped from its vessel. Yuji knelt on the ground, his body trembling with exhaustion. In his hands, a faint, flickering light pulsed, the sole testament to the impossible act he had just performed. It was Megumi's consciousness, a ghost of a soul, now safely extracted but tragically fractured. The body of the King of Curses, an empty shell, stood silent and motionless, its eyes vacant, a cruel monument to the sacrifices made. Around them, the other sorcerers stood in a state of suspended disbelief. They had planned for a decisive, final blow. Instead, they had witnessed an act of delicate, profound salvation. It was a victory, but a silent one. A success born not of overwhelming force, but of a surgical precision and a deep-seated love for a friend. Yuta was the first to move. He approached Yuji with a somber expression, his immense cursed energy now serving as a protective blanket around them. "He's out?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Yeah," Yuji said, his voice raw. He looked down at the ethereal glow in his hands. "He's with me. But he's not okay. His soul is broken." Shoko Ieri, their ever-present medical sorcerer, rushed forward, her hands hovering over the spiritual light. "It's unstable," she confirmed, her face etched with a mix of awe and concern. "It's like shattered glass. I can't heal a soul with reverse cursed technique. We can keep it stable, but to put him back, it's impossible. Not yet." The plan had succeeded, but it had not been without consequence. The moral imperative had been met. They had saved Megumi, but the King of Curses was still a threat. His empty vessel, now a ticking time bomb, contained a malevolent soul with access to the Ten Shadows technique. The strategic objective had shifted from annihilation to containment. The next question was chilling. What do you do with a god who has lost his vessel but not his power? The decision was made at a new council of war, one held not with the fear of imminent destruction, but with the grim reality of a prolonged, uncertain future. They could not kill the empty vessel without killing Megumi's soul. They could not seal it without risking its escape. The only option was to contain it. Hiromi Higuruma, the juridical mind, proposed a new, high-stakes game. They would use the very rules of the Culling Game against Sukuna. He would be contained within a new barrier, a custom-made domain that would act as a prison, with its own specific rules. The sorcerers would take turns acting as his warden, a rotating guard system designed to keep his immense power in check. This new Culling Game colony would become a crucible for the remaining sorcerers, forcing them to become stronger, to grow into the collective power they now represented. It was a terrifying, brilliant move. It would turn their greatest threat into a training tool, a dark star around which they would have to orbit and evolve. The new rules, a blueprint for containment, the Culling Game, Kenjaku's grand design, had been co-opted for their own purposes. The new rules were simple, brutal, and strategically sound. 1. The Warden's Challenge. A sorcerer must enter the new Culling Game colony and engage Sukuna's empty vessel for a predetermined period of time. This would force them to fight a being of godlike power without the risk of him using Megumi's body as a shield. 2. The Soul's Sanctuary, Megumi's fractured soul, would be placed under the protection of a specialized, non-violent domain, guarded by Shoko. This would give his consciousness time to slowly heal, with the hope that one day, he could be restored. 3. The Extraction Gambit. If Sukuna ever showed a sign of reincarnating into a new vessel, Yuji would be ready to perform the soul-swapping technique again, a last-ditch effort to pull Sukuna back into a controlled, contained state. This new strategic framework was a testament to the ideological shift that had taken place. Gojo's absence had forced them to move from a single point-of-failure model to a decentralized, resilient system. The fight was no longer a power-scaling duel, but a test of their collective ingenuity and perseverance. As the sun set on the Culling Game colony, the new era of Jujutsu sorcery began. Yuji sat alone, watching over the faint light of his friend's soul, a new purpose filling him. He was no longer just the boy who held a curse. He was the one who could save a soul. The defeat of Sukuna was not the end of the conflict, but the beginning of a long, arduous journey. The next chapter would not be about a single fight, but about a perpetual, evolving war, one where the lines between victory and sacrifice would be forever blurred. The stage was set, not for a grand finale,